My first impulse wasn't to write a sequel, it was to tell a completely new story. And I was very slow to realize that I needed for the new story a father and son. And that I already had created a father and son who would perfectly fit the requirements of the new story, because the new story required that they have lost touch with each other, they're unhappy with each other, and their connection has failed. And at the end of Superhero, Death of a Superhero, this is just the state that they're in. So I should have realized immediately, but I was very slow about it, and it took me several months of trying to work out who this father and son were before I realized I had two unemployed characters that I could put to work again. And this then changed the whole nature of the book I was writing, because it wasn't anymore just about the story I had in mind, about a father pursuing a son in the internet realm, but it was about a story of a family recovering from grief, the grief of losing a son and brother. I think it's probably the most transformative force in contemporary life is the impact of the digital world on all our lives, on our friendships, the nature of intimacy. It's affecting the workplace, the concept of work, how we spend our time interacting, non-physically. It's given us the opportunity to escape reality, to avoid embarrassing human conflict or contact. So it's as transformative in our lives as the sexual revolution was in the 60s or the Second World War was to our parents. And it felt like there has to be a book about this. I'm probably not the first person to do it, but I'm the first I'm aware of that's tried to explore the impact on personal lives and on family life. But I didn't want to just look at it as a subject. I actually wanted it to inform the structure of the novel. So I wanted the actual structure of the novel to reflect the new digital realities. And so half of the novel is told in the digital realm. If you look around, everybody is becoming more and more immersed in the digital realm. I think in the industrialized West, it's for children 6 to 16, it's roughly 7.5 hours a day of connectivity in one form or other. And my kids are no exception to that. Nor am I an exception to that. So it's also the personal story of how this is actually redefining how I live. So it's a very potent area to explore. What my kids did give me was a sort of understanding of how addictive it is, and I started to play a couple of their games that they were really absorbed in, and I wanted to understand what was so absorbing about it. And they're just so fantastically full of wonder and rewards that feel real, and successes and victories that the real world doesn't provide you with, that you feel a very real sense of satisfaction and self-esteem coming out of some of these games if you win. I've never had a Facebook page. I'm very slow with that. I'm a little suspicious about Facebook and its appeal, really, which almost seems to promote a type of social cowardice. You don't have to have real contact, and the embarrassments that might come with real contact. You can kind of hide behind this mask, and you don't have to think quickly. You can take your time and just write something to make you sound cool. And those things are appealing because they allow you to avoid embarrassment and risk, but that's the only way you learn. So Facebook promotes, I think, it slows down people's evolution and allows you to fantasize that you have 40 friends or 400 friends, which is an abuse of the word friends. I think of Facebook really as the industrialization of friendship, and I don't really welcome it. Certainly my ancestors are all from Ireland, and somewhere before the breakup of Ireland between North and South, they were somewhere in the middle, somewhere on the border. Yeah, I've recently become interested and done a little bit of research into how especially they came out to New Zealand and why they came, and what were the circumstances like when they arrived, and how tough it was, and what type of personality you needed to have to survive. And it's taught me a lot about the New Zealand character and aspects of my own character, I think, because those first pioneers were they were curious people, and they probably had what we would call today attention deficit disorder. They needed high levels of stimulus. Who else would respond to the invitation to travel the whole length of the world and go to a tiny country where you probably would never come back from? So it was a special type of person, a traveller, born travellers. And New Zealand is made up of that, and I think it's an aspect of my own personality. Kind of explains possibly why I don't live in New Zealand.